A mother wrote and said, "Yesterday my 4-year-old daughter, Luna, suddenly pulled my hair. Angrily, I yelled at her, 'Stop!' Instantly, I knew I was wrong. She cried a lot. I consoled her for a good while, and I felt bad about it." Yeah, what a temptation for you to feel bad about yelling at your daughter. How horrible of you. Oh, the shame. But no, let's not do any of that. That assessment of your behavior is actually wrong. When you're tempted to feel bad about an unloving moment, it can be quite helpful if you take into account the factor of surprise, especially in this case. When an event occurs, if we have even a couple of seconds to respond, we have the opportunity to think. We can choose from more than one perspective or judgment. We can choose better. But we have that choice only if we're not empty and afraid, only if we're not in pain. When we're in pain, we can only react instinctively, much as an animal would. This is a perfect example of why I emphatically encourage parents to get the training they need to be effective parents. I liken it to the benefits of taking a course on defensive driving, for example. Subscribe and click the notification bell to prepare well in advance for the surprises that will happen as you interact with your kids. With enough love, our pain and fear begin to lessen. With fear out of the way, even partially, we can begin to choose how we see things. With an accurate judgment, we don't have to automatically become afraid at every potential threat. There's a thorough discussion about this subject, about judgment, feeling, reaction in the parenting training. With enough love, we can choose to feel loved and genuinely safe. That's the power of love. But if something happens to us suddenly, sometimes we don't have either the time or strength to choose our judgments and our decisions. We're overwhelmed by pain or fear or both, and then old reactions just happen, like a knee-jerk. When you touch a hot stove, for example, you don't have time to think, you just react. And that's what happened when Luna pulled your hair. You reacted to a hot stove. So I'm saying that you are not as unloving to your daughter as you thought. Don't feel bad. Just learn from this. I recommend that you talk to her about it. Teach her about surprise. Let's go through some of the words you could say. And in order to make this extra difficult, let's imagine that you're back in time to the moment when she's crying loudly. What can you do? First, I recommend that you don't console her. That would only confirm her belief that she's been victimized. Instead, take her by the shoulders or face with both hands and say firmly but gently, "Stop. Look at me." It's not the word stop that's going to get her attention. It's your tone of voice, the firmness, the confidence of it. That alone will likely startle her, and almost certainly she will stop and listen. Keep doing that until she does. Say, "Do I love you?" "Yes, I do." And you know that. All day long you see that I love you over and over. When you pulled my hair, I was only surprised. I didn't stop loving you. On a later occasion, you might bring up this situation again to teach her more about surprises when she's not fresh from crying. You could say something like, "If I stab you in the leg with a fork, what would you do?" She'll kind of love this role playing. And she'll say something like, "Jump," or "Scream." And then you say, "But if you jump up when I stab you in the leg, you might knock a glass off the table so that it spills all over the floor." She's going to love this little play that you're enacting. "But did you mean to spill the water?" "No, you were just surprised. You reacted. And I didn't mean to yell at you either. You were surprised. I was surprised. When we're surprised, sometimes we don't make great choices." And you'll find other ways to explain this whole interaction to her. She needs to know that pulling your hair was still wrong. You're not excusing what she did, and she knew it was wrong. She thought it would be fun, but she knew it wasn't the right thing. She's 4 years old, not a nursing infant who's just acting out of instinct. And second, yes, you were wrong to be angry, but it was just a natural reaction. And 3, she has to think before she does things. Because out in the world, people will react strongly to her if she does thoughtless things like that, like pull their hair. If she's aggressive or hurtful, people will tend to react to her in ways that she won't like. These are great lessons here for you, Mom, and for your daughter. Great lessons for all of us. Subscribe to our newsletter at reallove.com and realloveparents.com, and I will regularly send you practical solutions because your well-being genuinely matters to me.